So if you're just coming in, can you click on the link in the chat and answer this little question for us? It's just sort of an entry question. I'll have to go back to it to exactly see what it says. I think it says, how are you feeling today? Is that what it says?
I think so.
Where are you at?
Where are you
Where are
at
you
today?
at
Is what it
today?
says, Kate.
Where are you at
at
today?
today?
Where are you at today? And you get to move the little battery around,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to answer a little response. And it's part of Desmos, which we're showing you today. So it'd be great to see.
After you hit submit, does it move to another question?
Nope.
No.
No. Once you complete, then you just come back here.
Yeah.
We've locked it up so that you can only have one question at the moment.
Okay, good. I'm just making sure I'm doing the right thing here.
Yeah.
I am just going to escape out of this and just peek over at the Desmos and see how many people have answered or have logged in. There we go. We've got a few.
Yeah, that's
Carolyn,
good.
Daryl, Karen. So if you're just joining us, can you please go to the link in the chat, and you can sign in with that. So it'll bring you to the Desmos page, and then you can continue without signing in. You can just add your name, so you don't have to log into your Google account, and then just answer the question that's there, and then we'll get started. What time do you have, Kate? I left my phone in the other room.
It's 3:33, but that's okay
Oh,
because
is it? Okay.
you had to change your room. So I just said we can just wait a couple extra minutes.
Okay.
Rod likes the battery thing because his household is back at quiet mode. Everybody's at school in London, Middlesex, I should say.
He doesn't have to share his internet connection with anybody.
Yep, exactly.
I had an incredible internet week last week, and now this week it's just gone sideways again. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, well, thankfully it's just a short week, right?
Yeah. Okay, ready to get started?
Yeah, let's
Should we go in? Should we just go quickly show everybody's
responses?
Answers? Yeah,
let's do that.
Okay. I am going to close that. Sorry, I've got a whole bunch of things open here. Okay, so when we go in, I'm going to pause it. So then that means nobody can do anything anymore. And we can see that all of these people have given answers. We can go over to the teacher view, and it allows to see everybody's answers. So looks like Rod and I are in the same zone. And Karen is way down low. Karen, yeah,
empty.
We're going to fill you up during this session. Everybody's going to tell Karen how amazing she is. We appreciate that you joined us today, Karen. That's so nice of you, because we know it's like a super busy time. And then you can see everybody's answers here. So that's just a kind of activity to get started. We paused it so that you can see all of them. But if we want to see the other pages, these are all interactive activities that are check-ins for students, and you can just pick which one you want to share and just paste it to the screen, so then you can use different ones on different days. Let's see what this little goat does. Okay, this is Rod. This is Karen.
Go right.
Oh, Karen.
Oh. Okay, sorry. Now I'm making jokes at your expense, and that's not good. I said we try and fill you up. Okay.
It's okay.
Okay, so we're going to look at the virtual and face-to-face, an activity like Desmos, which can be used in virtual and face-to-face. So welcome and thanks for joining us.
This may be our last week. We don't know. We'll have to see about the announcement, but if not, we'll be on again next week. Okay, so this is our land acknowledgement, and Sally's going to press my play button there.
So this is Moat. This is what you talked about last week.
Yeah.
And so you tried it out, you added the extension, and so instead of you having to read it today, you've recorded your voice on it.
Yep. Super easy.
We acknowledge that the land on which we are connected through is part of the traditional territory.
Can you hear it?
Chippewa, Odawa, Potawatomi, and Delaware nations.
Yeah, it's really quiet.
You know why? Because I have my headphones on and the volume was coming out here, and I didn't share sound. That's my fault.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep, that's okay. Don't worry. You were
But it was
lots
pretty
going on
smooth.
there.
All I had to do
Yeah.
was click on it. So if a
I know,
student
it's
was
so good.
using it
And
to listen.
it goes up, you know where it is, like it adds as an extension.
Mm-hmm.
And you can click that and actually record it and save your recordings there if you want.
Oh, nice.
And they're up to 2 minutes. Actually, I think 1.5 minutes is what I saw. And then it actually goes into that menu bar. You know where the read and write menu bar drops down for on slides or docs or something? It's right there. And then you just click that. It looks like this exact purple button. And then you just start recording and then it pops it right in. And actually you can translate it into other languages and then copy and paste. So if you have an ESL or an ELL student in your classroom, and you're reading something or you need to share something with them, then you could give them feedback and then translate it and copy that into the text so they can read it in their home language.
Wow, that's amazing. And I think Steph and Andrew are probably talking about that in more detail and how to do that, because I feel like that was on their list for today. So if anybody wants to find out more, they can go to the LKDSB PD Zoom, I think it is. Yeah. And it would be in there.
It's so easy.
Okay, so we're welcoming Karen. Thanks for joining us, Karen. Even though your battery's low today, we really appreciate you and your experience with Desmos. So it's going to be very useful. So thank
Karen,
you.
before we move on, you have to tell us, where was this picture taken?
Oh yeah.
It was in, I think it was Windsor, and it was 5 or 6 years ago now. It was a weekend conference that we went down for. It was just a Saturday, and there's different sessions you could go to. And Marion Smalls was talking. So there was a few of us that, and I think Jess Cruz was one of the other ones. We went up to her. We're like, "Can we just take a picture with you?"
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Karen, it looks like you're tickling her because she's like, she
I know.
looks like all tense and she's like giggling. Okay,
Nice.
so we are going to have question and answer first. We're going to share some virtual reading resources that we've heard about, and then we're going to focus in on Desmos and then have question and answer again.
Okay, did anyone come with any questions? Derek, you want to know what week we're in, or? They seem to all blend. We are on Groundhog Day, and Pam Gallant was mentioning to us earlier, it's like Groundhog Day every day these days. One day it won't be, right? But please feel free to use the chat or come on mic if you have something specific you're wondering about. We're happy to help you.
Yeah, and then we'll have hopefully time for a question and answer at the end. If you want to wait till then too, whenever works for us. Okay, so let's get talking about these reading resources.
Yeah. So we thought that we do a lot of chatter about math and math resources and manipulatives and online tools. So we thought maybe we'd switch it up and give you some language tools. So the top two rows are language-based resources that we know are well used and they're good and free, or we have an access to them in some way, shape, or form. And then the bottom row is, sorry, Sally, do you want to add anything to that top part?
Yeah, so just the like that top row, we tried to keep it would be like nonfiction, but also within you can find fiction in the Newslia. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Newsella.
Newsella. And then that second row, you can also find nonfiction and fiction in both, but you're more likely to find the nonfiction. No, now I'm getting confused. Fiction. You'll be able to find the fiction in the middle row there.
Yeah, exactly. And then the bottom row, we thought we would put in some resources for Black Lives Matter month. And all of these I found from Candace Fung's Google Classroom that I added myself to from that email that Sally told me about through our director, sent that email. And at the bottom, he adds a link to her classroom and there's like a plethora of resources in there. So I just found this one. I just want to highlight this one, the periodic table of Canadian Black history. That is so cool. So each color is actually means they have like divided into athletes or scientists or some kind of group, and then each one is its own person. It has like their initial and stuff, so it's really neat. And then it goes to like a wiki page, and it's
I was trying to bring it up, Kate, but
I
I
know.
realized that this is an image. It's not actually the linked page.
no, it's not linked. The link is right below it. The
But
link
it's
is
an
right
image
below
of
it.
it. But it's an image of it. It's not it's not all the links.
No.
Yeah. So when they will get this, and it will be in their, so it's in the session notes, and that page that you're going to, it will force you to make a copy. The links will be right there. So you will be able to click on it. We just can't because that's actually an image. Okay.
It is
Anything
interactive.
else you want to say? That sounds awesome, Kate, though,
Yeah.
that all those, it's organized like that. That's really neat.
Yeah, it's so cool. I clicked on a few and I was like, this is amazing. So if you have like research projects or you have something your kids are looking for, this is a great resource for them to go to. Like you would not need anything else.
Wow, that's
Mhm,
amazing.
mhm,
That's a lot of work that Candace has put into that. So I think
mhm,
it's going to be
mhm,
very useful for
mhm,
many years to come.
mhm.
Okay, so we're going to get started with the Desmos activity. So we want everybody to, hopefully, if you're willing, to go to studentdesmos.com and type in that link. I'm going to just make a copy of the link and paste it in the chat in case you would prefer to just click on the link, which is something you might do with your students. If I can get back to you, because I'm screen sharing, right? So I need to go to chat. There we go. I'm having a hard time today. Things just aren't going smooth. There we go. Okay, it's in the chat. If you wanted to click on that and go there, that would be awesome. We've got it set up so that you can do the first, I don't know, the first five pages. So if you want to see what it would be like as a student coming into a Desmos activity that you'd be doing with your class, this activity is pretty popular. It's been created by Desmos, and it would work for the grade 6 curriculum. It's connecting the fractions, decimals, and percents. And I feel like I would do this activity after I've had a lesson or two of supporting students to understand that before actually doing this lesson. So everybody should be moving over there now. If you have any questions, just put in the chat. And also, if you have any problems, please put that in the chat as well, so then we can know. We can also go over to Kate and I while you're doing that. Kate and I are going to be looking at, from the teacher perspective, we can see that 4 students are there right now. Do we only have 4 people in the session?
No, there's some more in the session, but they might not be able to get in quite yet.
Yeah, so I can see Laura's there, Carrie Lynn McMahon, Karen's in there. And don't worry about if you get the question wrong, just fill in something, because we're just going to use that to show how you would use it as the teacher, like looking at the information and making use of the platform. And Karen, please just pipe in and share anything that you think is important. We can see
So
Daryl's
Karen,
joined.
you use this in the classroom, right?
I do.
Okay, and then you also used it remotely or not yet?
Yeah, I've been doing it remotely.
Oh, okay, awesome. And so your kids are really used to it?
Yeah, they're doing okay with it. They've seen it enough times now. They know what to do.
Yeah.
You've used it with all 3 grades, grade 4, 5, and 6?
Yep, the grade 4s are pretty good with it. They're fine. It's just a matter of finding the activities that work for them.
Yeah, we have some tips. Well, Sally found some great tips for that too, which is awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's taken a while. I've kind of clued in now how to find them, but at first it was hard.
Yeah. The
Actually,
platform
George-
isn't that great for finding.
No.
It's great for providing amazing things, but it's not easy to find in there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
That's true. You know what? Jordan's just mentioning about how he's on his phone, so he's not going to join in, which is totally fine. But just so you know, it does work on like any device. So if you do this in the classroom and you don't have enough devices, like they can go on their phone and do it.
Yeah, and like right now, if you were to come back to our screen, you could see right now that Karen has completed page 2, Lara and Carrie Lynn, Derek's done nothing. And Daryl is working on page 2 as well. Katya, Derek, do you need some support?
I couldn't quite figure out how to drag. I'm like, I don't feel like my proportions are right. I don't know how to drag these lines around. So I was just spent a
Oh,
lot of time playing with it.
oh no, I said Derek. Sorry, Lara. I wasn't,
Oh,
I was
sorry, I
just
thought you said
teasing Derek.
Lara.
I was teasing Derek. But no, that's for that slide too. It is, it's however you want it to look. So you're planting your own garden, so there's no proportion that it has to be.
Oh.
And so basically, Sally and I were talking about Desmos. We both used it in class. I've not used it remotely yet, but you have to think about Desmos as kind of like, what did we equate it to the other day, Sally? And we were like, it's kind of exactly like that.
Like Whiteboard FI?
Yeah,
Like you
it's
can
kind
see
of like
everybody's
Whiteboard
work at
FI. If
once.
you're using Whiteboard FI, so everyone has that link, right? And then you're working on your own sort of platform, but then we're showing you the teacher view of it, and then which has that whiteboard feature where you can see what everybody is working on, and you can look at that in different views. So this is the overall view, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And
But you're
so
gonna,
do you think pause right now? Stop them? Or let them keep
sure.
working?
No, I think pausing would be good because I think I don't want people working too hard on the math part. Looking
Okay.
at everybody's batteries earlier, I'm not sure that's where they want to be at.
So we just press pause on your work. So that means when the students get paused, they know like they can't do any more work. You often hear the students go, like they get
Mhm,
annoyed because they want to
mhm.
just keep working. And so then you're pausing because you want to pull them back together to have a conversation. So we're hoping by now everybody's back on our screen, the Google Meet, and are looking at what we're sharing here right now. So one thing while everybody's working, you could be looking at it and clicking on the teacher view. So if you look to the right top, I've clicked on teacher and I can see that everybody's worked on their gardens. And then if I go to page 2, I can see the proportions. And so I can see Karen's answers. And then I can also see her proportions if I want to zoom in and see if she's on, if this is making sense to her, is there any confusion? So then I can kind of see everybody at once and make sure that everybody is understanding and support where needed. We can also go to summary though, which was where we were to see
So
the
Sally, when you
progress.
clicked on that, can you go back for a minute?
Yeah.
So when you sort of made that big, what did you click on there?
Oh, you can just click on any students to make it zoomed in so you can see their whole thing. So we
Oh,
can
okay.
see that Karen's got 50 and 100, and then this one up here would be 25 and 100. Yep, so she's on track. So you can look and see, is this making sense to the students?
Right.
And
And
the
so
other,
yeah.
oh, go ahead.
So the pause feature is allowing you for everyone's focus to come back to your board
Yeah,
so that
which,
you can highlight the ones that you want to highlight for
yeah.
whatever reason that is.
Yeah, so what I would be doing while they're working is I would be looking at their work in that grid view that we just saw, but then I'd also be taking snapshots. So see that little camera? I just took a picture. By clicking it, I can take a picture. So I'm going to go to the next one. No, sorry, I'm going to not look at Karen's work. I'm going to look at another student. There, I'm going to look at Lara's, and I can take another snapshot of her work. And so then that's captured. So then once I've like kind of supported students, taken some captures, and then I pause it, I would go back to the snapshots. And let's say I wanted to show Karen's, and then I wanted to show Lara's. It would come up like that, and you can reorganize them. And then I say, okay, everybody come back and look, I want to talk about somebody's work. So now we can see these examples, and we could
The
discuss them.
comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you might want them for, you could use them for a bunch of different things, right?
Mhm.
Whatever your kind of focus is.
Yeah, you're right. And so Karen, do you use the snapshot tool very much or?
You know what? I don't. I usually am just checking out their work and, calling them like, hey, I see you're stuck on this page. Let's go back to this question. I know we did do it in the classroom last year. I think when you were in there, Sally, we were using the snapshot a few times, if you remember that far back. But yeah, I haven't been using it as this year. I'm glad you reminded me about it.
I think though, Karen, you're right. Like, I think sometimes you might want to use a Desmos activity to teach something. And so you might actually use that snapshot tool more versus
Yeah.
having them like practice a skill. And then, like you said, you might just individually try and support them that way, and you might not use it as much, right?
Yeah, right now we've been more using it. We've already talked about a concept. Now we're going to go just do some practice and I can kind of
Mhm.
see where you're at.
Mhm.
Whereas if I was using it, yeah, I think to
Mhm.
introduce something, I think I would use that a lot more.
Mhm.
And like if you seen that students were kind of getting stuck on the page and there was a bunch of misconceptions, that might be where you might take some snapshots and be like, okay, let's revisit this, and a chance to give them some feedback on what you're seeing and help clarify any problems that they might have. So you could use it that way too. What other neat features should we show them?
Well, I was just gonna say, see how part of Sally's screen is orange and part of it is green for the different slides you would have to go through?
Yep.
So the orange, so right now you guys would have access to all the slides and you could just skip ahead and do all the slides until the end. But there's also that pace feature that's there.
Right here,
And
pacing.
so you can select the slides that you want them to work on, and then maybe that's where you take a stop and make sure everyone's on board and then continue on. So you can select. So now the orange ones are where you guys are allowed to work from.
And you just gotta remember to press this button, so then it restricts it. And so now you would have access to this one down here where you didn't before.
Yeah,
Except
so if
we're
you go
still
back to
paused.
that screen, it's not paused anymore, so you could carry on with your activity if you want to.
Or it was paused, but it wasn't locked up, like the pace was open,
Right,
right?
sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so we still have you paused, so you can't go work, but if we wanted to let you, we could unpause it, right? Okay.
Sure, yep.
What were you gonna say something, Karen?
No, just that we were still paused, so we couldn't see how far we could go.
It is
Yeah.
annoying being paused, and I have forgotten in class to unpause, and then the kids are like, "We're paused." So you do have to. It is kind of frustrating. So I can totally understand. I can relate to them.
And this anonymized features, right now we can see Karen and Lara's name, so we can change that and it becomes famous mathematicians. And so then if we wanted to share their work without like having it be obvious whose it is, then we could just anonymize.
It's a great
And that's
feature.
what I do when I see that they're stuck on a screen. I'll have them anonymized and I'll just call them out. Say, Caroline, where are you? Caroline, I need you to go back to page 4.
That's a
Oh,
great
okay.
idea.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah.
So
Are there
if we
any
go,
questions so far about this platform? About how to use it? Is it making
Yeah.
sense to people? Okay. Carry on.
Okay, so I just went to student view. So if you want to see what the page will look like for the students, so let's go to this one that you didn't get to see. So this is a card sort. So it says sort the cards so that each group adds up to 40% or to 100%. Sorry, I'm looking at the 40. So they could go and like join the cards to make them match. All right, like that doesn't match, but that's what they would do is go and sort. So there's lots of neat features about Desmos that there's just so many different activities that they create. And the nice thing is that's done for you. I haven't created any. I would like to, but I don't know how to do it. So
I have actually created one before on arrays because
Oh
I
yeah.
couldn't find one. Yep. And it wasn't that hard because you can insert pictures and stuff, but I do find some of their tools to be limiting. Although that was like, I would say I created that one, maybe it was definitely probably 2 years ago. So maybe they've added some new features since then, but I do remember because you can have like 3 different types of slides at the time. Anyway, it wasn't overly hard. And I just wanted to say, like, I feel like some of us have heard that word Desmos, and it's been sort of a link that we've maybe had on the program page. And I think initially when it first came out, people thought of it as like a graphing calculator or a graphing program, and there's still a ton of graphing on it, but it's really evolved since that, and it has so many more activities like for all age groups, and platform itself is just really great for teaching and learning.
Under this summary, like it will store this student work, and so you can go back and check on it if you want. Like if there's something you want to check on to like, was the student understand this? You can go back and look at it later.
Yeah, because Sally, actually, if you go back out of this activity, you know where you go and you get your code for different activities, like from
Yep.
your homepage. Yeah, if you
Yep.
go to your collections,
Or you mean
and-
activity history? Are we
Yeah,
looking at
yes,
past
activity
work?
history. Yeah, so
Okay.
like even though she's played some of these games, you can see there's duplicates of the same one. It saves it, and each one has its own code. So you could go back and see what last year's did this time if you did the exact same thing.
So, and this is from today, like the one that we were in earlier. So we can see Daryl's work here from earlier. So you
Mhm.
just click on it and see the screen what they worked on.
And so this initial activity is different than the one that you're doing right now because
Yeah, two
that one
different.
is only one slide that you would show for that day.
Yeah, with
Right.
that activity, that
Yeah.
board.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Versus the one we're doing right now on
Mhm.
percentages, that they would go through a series of slides.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
like the nice thing is like you just it helps you to like it's live. You can see the students working live, so then you know where the confusion is. You can support classroom discussion by pulling things up. You have actual student work. It's not like you have to take a picture of it in the classroom and then add it to your Google Drive, then put it on the board. Like it's
Mhm.
just so smooth
Mhm.
and seamless. It's
Mhm.
really easy to
Mhm.
use.
Mhm. So I wonder, Sally, if we could show that feature back in the one that we're in right now. Karen, remember at the beginning we were talking about how you could see other people's answers once you've submitted?
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if they unpause, are you able to see other people's submissions now?
Um,
So if everybody went back to page 2, they
Mm.
could look and see if they could see.
yeah, I didn't write anything in, so I can't see anybody else's.
Oh. Lara's going there. I can see that she's gone back to page 2, so she could tell us if she can see anything. Can you see other people's work, Lara?
No, I can't.
No.
Yes, I can.
You can?
Yep. Once I put my answer in and hit submit.
Okay. Did you have to click on anything to see that or just automatically?
I just had to submit because
Okay.
I had not done anything before, so I made something up.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe it's more like because we haven't actually done too many slides, right? Like you're really
Yeah.
only on slide 3. So I think as soon as you submit a new slide, then maybe other people's will pop up.
And it actually has a little note saying, wait here for 3 of your classmates' responses or go on whenever you're ready. So I'll only see 3, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. Nice.
Mhm.
Okay. So if we go back here to the my activity history. So these ones are single session use. Like I didn't set it up that you're in the class. I just added and I started the session, so it's a single session, but you can also have a classroom. So you can see I created one for this session, office hours, and I can go in and view. It doesn't have like the link or the code because this is like assigned to this class. And so I was like, oh, I don't want to do that because when I sign it this way into a class I've created, you have to log in with your Google Classroom account. And so, or your Google Drive account. And so then, I don't know if everybody want to do that. So then I just gave a single session so you can join as a guest. But if you want to have all your students collected here in this session and they want to come and go, like they want to start it and then go back, they could do that in this format here because they're joining in and it's going to be linked to their classroom. So if I go here, I would just click on that and say, go to this code. And then they would click on the one that I tell them to join.
So Sally, without doing that, then, so
Oh, you're freezing up, Kate. Is she freezing up for you or is it me?
No, just you.
Sorry, go ahead, Kate. So
Okay.
it was freezing up.
So for instance, if we were to close that, if we were to all leave that session that we're in right now, and then we wanted to go back and finish the activities, we couldn't technically go back and finish our specific activity. It would start fresh and give us a new page.
Yeah, like if
Right.
you signed in as a single session use and you
Yeah.
signed in as a guest, you're not going to have access to it. But if you sign
Right.
in with your Google Classroom or your Google Drive login account, then you will.
Right. Okay. And how do you use it, Karen? Which feature, where do you use it?
I do the single session, but they always log in with their Google ID because one of the choices that comes up is sign in with Google. So I tell them to hit that so they can get back into it. I have
Okay.
done, I have created it in the class so that it goes directly to their Google Classroom, but I just like the single session better. So I keep doing it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you still have access to it all.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
if
exactly.
you go to your activity history,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
there's the things I can go back and
Yeah.
look at any of the work
Because
that was
you,
done.
as like a teacher or whoever, can create the account, and then when you log in, all your stuff is still there, right? Like, so you can create your collections if you want, and search for the ones you want and save them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we just wanted to highlight like the in the moment feedback that saves you, like knowing where your students are and what they're doing, being able to give feedback in the moment, also using that to guide your instruction. Like it's easier to see live and decide where you're going to go with teaching than it is to look at the work after, which
Mhm.
happens in remote often. So it is a
Mhm.
nice platform to see it live.
Mhm.
And then the conversation in the classroom, like having the visual up there and the actual work to discuss is much more powerful when students can see and know what you're talking about. And then the assessment, and you're knowing who's got what at what moment, and then how you can support. I remember I was in a class and a kid was just scribbling on the page. So then you knew you could go over and talk to that student, and then the student was right on track, right? So you know, whereas even when you're in the classroom live with everybody, you don't know who's able to work and not work at the moment because they're frustrated or confused, right? So it is really useful in the classroom too,
Mhm.
as well as online.
Mhm. This was just a few screenshots that I took in case somebody misses this session, is watching it after the fact. Then just some snapshots on how to create an account and where you can go and where to click collections, and all those kind of search features that are there. But speaking of the search features, when you actually search in Desmos, it's not awesome. I don't find it, like, it doesn't, even if you're really specific on what you want to look for, sometimes an activity is there. Like that one was called Des Farm. Is that what it
Des
was?
Farm, yeah.
Yeah. And like, even if you put that in, it might not come up. And so
Yeah.
the tip here is that you should search for Desmo activities in Google, not in Desmo. So even though there's like a search button in Desmo, you should always just do it in Google. Is that what you do, Karen?
Yeah. So I think if you're searching within Desmos, it's only activities created by the Desmos company. Whereas when you're searching in Google, things that random people have made up and shared will show up that way. And I feel like probably most of mine, I don't know. I don't actually check to see where they're coming from, but I think I kind of thought activity builder meant that maybe it was coming from somewhere else. Somebody was creating it, but not necessarily, because it says it for all of these. So yeah, and the Facebook group that I joined too, the Desmos Educators, I've gotten a ton of stuff from there and just kind of learned a little bit more about things that I could be searching for.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So that's a good group to join, and there's always people in there freely sharing.
Yes, we
Okay.
have that here on this slide. I found it last night for my first time, and
Oh, sorry, I told you.
yeah, no, and I was like, what? And so I searched up, I found so many awesome things, like that first activity, the check-in one with all the different activities. I was like, that's so easy to use and it's interactive, and you could actually turn that into a math lesson, what we just did at that check-in with the battery. So it is, it's got so many things, and everything I typed in, I found a bunch of things that I wanted, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That was me last night, and then
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep.
Yeah, because when you create it, it's kind of like Seesaw. If anyone has used Seesaw before, you create the activity and then you can keep it private to your own collection, or you can like make it public, and that's how people can search and find your stuff. So you have like room there.
Okay, so Karen, do you want to tell us a little bit about these? So we've added these to the session notes, and these are ones that you've tried out with the class. So do you want to tell us a little bit about any of them, or?
Sure. These are the ones that I have done this year, that when I asked the kids yesterday, I said, tell me which ones have been your favorite. And so they gave me this list so that I could share it with you guys. The Classy Cats, I think we're going to show that one in a little bit. That's just a great one to start out on and let them play around with it and kind of get comfortable with it, and for the teacher to get comfortable with it too. just to figure out how all the controls work. The candy corn was the first one I did this year because I was looking for the estimation 180 and knowing it was near Halloween and I wanted the candy corn one, I typed that in and it came up with the Desmos one. So it's the exact same as you would do with a regular estimation 180 if people use that in their class. But it's put out on the slides and tells them, now what's a number that's too high, what's a number that's too low, but gives them a spot to enter it all in as well. The coordinate plane one, that one was awesome because now this year grade 6s have to do negative numbers all of a sudden. So this one was just plotting points, but it was positive and negative, and it had a target and they had to get the number right on. I had kids going to like 7 or 8 decimal places to get it right as centered as they could. They were hilarious. It was like they were in a big competition with each other.
That's awesome.
Yeah. The punch out one, it's like 1980s computer graphics and you're fighting against Mike Tyson in a boxing match. It was completely random, but it bases how many times you click the button to punch, and it just generates numbers that you can then do mean and median and mode with. So
yeah, that's awesome.
That one was awesome because everybody gets different numbers. So they can't just rely on what their friend is doing, or, if you were in class, they couldn't just be the exact same thing. So that one was fun. It took us a long time because some of them had numbers in the hundreds and they would have, I think there ended up being 11 numbers that they had to find the mean of. So that was just calculator issues. They couldn't punch them all in and get it all right.
Yeah.
Snowflake challenge, completely random that I found that one. I don't even know how I did. And it starts as a triangle that you slide different points of, and it makes a beautiful snowflake. They're still up on my wall outside our classroom because we did it for Christmas. When we go back, we're gonna be like, oh, look, our snowflakes. Because depending on where it's just fun to play with. Depending on where you pull on that triangle, you get beautiful designs. They just enjoyed it. There's one screen. That's all there is for that one. They had fun.
Nice.
The rectangles, the grade 4s did that one. It amazes me what people come up with to build it. They had a little magnifying glass that when you move it over, you can see the array under the rectangle, but it's not there when you don't put the magnifying glass.
Oh, that's so cool.
So you could
That's
count
awesome.
squares if you wanted to, or you could use.
That's so neat. Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yep. And then the finding area by decomposing and rearranging. It was like little geoboards where actually I don't think it was geoboards. It was more tangram pieces. And each screen would be different. It would say, imagine the square is 1 unit. What's the triangle? And you could drag them over so you could fit them on top of each other and create the same shape, but you could see easily that the triangle was half of the square.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
So
yeah, lots of awesome things. And when I was searching last night, I found some things too. I'm just going to exit out and take you. One of them I found was a spreadsheet, and it's somebody created this spreadsheet, and it goes by approximate grade level. And so keeping in mind these might be American, and so the alignment may not be perfect, but we always just refer back to the curriculum to make sure that we're, targeting what we're trying to. So if we go down, you can see they've listed some for 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade. This is like junior, or like junior and under. And so and these are just some of them. Like there's a lot that I found last night that can help with whatever you might be teaching.
Awesome. You've added this to our session notes too, right, Sally?
Yeah, so there's lots there, and there's some which one doesn't belong. I found a number talk one, like it's a template that I put in the session notes that you could copy, and then you could just put in your different images and use for number talks. It's pretty neat.
Awesome.
Okay, so we wanted to go to show them how to get to Crazy Cats.
Yeah, sure.
Did you search within here, or did you search in Google?
To find Crazy Cats?
Oh, it's Classy Cats.
Classy Cats.
I don't even remember how I found that one, because that was one, we still did that when we were in school, and it was a random one that I found, and it worked for what I was trying to do, just get them going, and it was graphing. So
okay, so I just typed in Classy Cats Desmos, and it come up. I like how it tells you it's going to work with a tablet, it's going to work with a laptop, it's not going to work so great on your phone.
Yeah.
And this is by Desmos. And the nice thing is down here where you can preview to see what it's going to be like before you actually go into it.
And there's always the teacher notes there that give you suggestions on what you could be using each screen for.
And the ones that are created by Desmos are actually like super thought out and like really great direction for running your lesson. And then it tells you what the sample responses might be. So this is just creating a cat here, like getting them to see how it changes. And you can test it out, right? So it's kind of neat. So you can have a look at all the stuff.
Yeah, and when we did this one, they had a blast hitting that little submit button to see if their cat was classy or not. It was like there was so much like just anticipation. Is my cat going to be classy?
Aw, that's cute.
Okay, so what was the parameters for it being classy?
Well, you have to figure that out. If you go to slide 2 or slide 3, I think it was slide 2.
Oh, slide 2?
Yeah.
Sorry, just one
Oh,
second.
okay, because it gives them coordinates. Okay, I'm with you now.
Yeah,
Okay.
it tells you here, these ones are classy, these ones aren't. So they had to make a prediction first.
And it tells you what the answers could be too
Yeah,
under
that's
sample
awesome.
responses.
So good.
It's a proportional, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, Karen, like you said, if you were going to start this program, like any other one, you would want to use something that just sort of gets them used to the tools, right? And not so much on the heavy on the content piece.
Yeah, well, and
Yeah.
easy for you to use too, right? Like you
Yeah.
want to know what
Yeah.
it is you're doing and how to pause them and just
Yeah, get
And
familiar.
pause.
And then the teacher guide you can print off if you wanted it to be up beside you to like follow through. And it tells you everything that says on each screen. So if it was something you wanted, you could use that as well.
mhm.
Okay, Karen, what were you going to say? Sorry, I interrupted you.
If you go back, let me see the screens again. If you pick, I'm just looking to see which one.
I liked this one, the outlier.
Yeah,
It helps
and
you figure it out, right?
yeah, go to that one and then try 9 after it. And whether this one does, I'm never really sure if they're actually saying they're using the other students' data or if they've just kind of created a graph that you'll only see. But they say that they use your classmates and they've plotted it so that everybody's will be in the line. And we talked about this when we were doing graphing, that you could put a line of best fit in there. And it just happened to work in with what we were doing. But if you go to the next one too, yeah, see, so it's in theory using the points that everybody else has created. I mean, nobody's done it for this one, so that's why I question that. But I think sometimes it really does use the results from everybody else's. So, which is kind of neat because then they can see if they are on the right track or if they're that outlier or how far off they can be, but still works with what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, neat. So we've been showing and talking about grades 6 and under, but Desmos, like this platform was generally at the beginning used for secondary and grade 7 and 8. And so there are tons of activities, more than there are available for junior and primary, available on Desmos. So I know we have some 7-8 teachers here, and so they will be able to find, you know, in the same platforms, like different resources that will support their 7-8 program as well. Okay, so I think that's probably it for Desmos. we've got like 14
Yeah,
minutes
we have a
left
few
here.
more
Kate.
things to
Can
share.
I say one more thing about Desmos?
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
By following that Facebook group, there are real Desmos people on there. It's not just random people. And every Thursday at, I think it's 4 o'clock Pacific time, so 7 our time, there's videos that they release that are live about different things that you can do with the coding. So if you were interested in learning how to create activities, you can watch some of their little videos and join their sessions. I joined one and it was way over my head because I haven't even looked at the coding stuff, but it was interesting. And there's always people saying, how would I do this? And I feel like Desmos should add in this feature. So they're always listening to things that people want as well and seeing how they can work it into it. So
Yeah,
just,
it's such a great
it is,
platform.
it's really neat. Okay, that's all.
Awesome. Thank you, Karen. Okay, so Kate, you're going to talk about, Pam shared this with us today.
Yeah, so Pam, she's running another report card session on Thursday, but she sent us an email saying, because today marks the first day of the end of term 1 and the start of term 2, when you go to print your report cards and open them, it will default to the term that you're in. So it will be the spring term. So you just have to make sure that you click onto the winter term when you want to go through that. Does that make sense?
That would
to
be
everybody?
panic moment. You
Yeah.
hit print and it
Yeah.
automatically prints the spring and there's nothing in them.
Yeah, like
Oh my
blank. So
gosh.
yeah,
I
seriously.
could see me having a meltdown
Oh
at
my
that
gosh, yeah,
moment.
yeah. So just FYI on that one. So we'll share that, and I'm sure she will talk about that if you're happening going on Thursday as well. So don't have a panic tonight when you log in, or don't log in.
Yeah.
But just so you know, okay, because it is our first time run through, I guess, right?
Yeah. So
Mhm.
just when they're printing, they just got to go change it from winter to, or from spring to winter
Yeah,
because the date switched over. Okay.
right. Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any questions? I haven't even been looking at the chat, so I don't know.
Yeah, there hasn't really been much in the chat, so you're good. I think we're good.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's quiet night tonight.
It is quiet. People are worn out. Remember the batteries at the beginning? Everyone's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to sit and listen, and that's totally okay too.
Mine seems to always get charged at the end of the day, though. I always have more energy at the end of the day. Okay. So here's our link to the bit.ly. And actually, I'm going to, because I think sometimes you forget, I'm just going to copy it and paste it right into the chat right now, because there's so much in those session notes that you can make use of. So I just thought I'd add it. We've been adding as we've been going along. Okay. So this
Yeah,
is,
and this is the session for Pam's last report card writing session on Thursday, and she is focusing on the mark book section.
okay, perfect.
And there was another section to that, but now I can't remember what it was.
Oh, you want me to go back?
No, that's okay.
Okay. So the Desmos activity build, so Pam's been creating resources for us all to use on assessment in the virtual classroom. So this weekend she created Desmos Activity. So you can go download it, and it has tips on Desmos in there and using it with assessment. And so possibly not, next week we might join each other. If not, then have a nice week back at school next week, if that's the case. If not, hope to see you here.
Yeah.
And Karen, thanks so much for being here. That's amazing. We appreciate it.
Yep, Karen, that's awesome. I'm
Right.
so glad that you love Desmos.
I do. And you guys are helping me procrastinate from report cards. So
You're welcome. Yeah, it's been awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah,
everybody.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think it is. So everybody have a good night.
Yep. We'll
Thanks,
see
guys.
you later.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the chat. Oh, you know what we forgot to say was that you should be prepared if Desmos, the platform isn't going to work for some people. Like mostly it works for everybody, but we were in Megan's class and it didn't work for 2 of our students that have been having technical issues. So just having like copies of the slides ready to share with other students. We forgot to say that.
Oh, I wonder what they were using.
Yeah, it must be really old.
I don't know. It wasn't going well for them. So we end up just taking screenshots. We were using the coordinate plane one, and they were able to, the very end of the coordinate plane, the marble section where they have to make it go through the maze. They love that one. And if I'm thinking of the same one, were we on the, okay, so there's another coordinate plane one, and it has like a happy face, and they have to place the eyes and change the colors and do a bunch of things. Then as they progress through and they get better at it, then they have to move a marble through a maze by adding all the coordinates. It's kind of neat.
That sounds hard. What grade was that?
It's grade 6. It's not hard. No, it's not hard because it's just in line with, it's just lines up with that coordinate plane one.
Okay.
That you would have used. Yeah. It's
I'll
not.
look for that one.
Yeah, it's good. All right. Well,
Hey,
that's it
girls.
then.
Have a
Okay,
good
well,
night.
thanks so much, Karen.
Yeah, no problem. It's been fun talking to other people that are not my students.
Yeah.
I
No
know,
kidding,
right?
eh?
Yeah.
All right.
I know.
Okay, see you
Okay,
guys.
see ya.